I gave my dad's eulogy and told the truth. My Aunt Karen called me the night before the funeral and read me what she thought I should say. Wonderful father, hardworking, always there when it mattered. I held the phone against my ear and let her finish. Then I said, "Okay, thanks Karen," and wrote my own. My dad wasn't a monster. I want to be clear about that because what I said at that podium wasn't a hit job. It was just honest. He was charming and funny and the kind of man who could make a whole room love him in 20 minutes. He was also an alcoholic who missed every single dance recital I ever had, forgot my birthday 4 years in a row, and spent my college fund on a boat he sold 8 months later. My stepmom Sandra had been with him for the last 12 years, and she'd done a good job convincing everyone, including maybe herself, that the man she knew was the whole man. She'd prepared this whole service around that version of him. Flowers he would have hated, music he never listened to, a photo slideshow set to a country song when my dad didn't own a single country album in his life. Sandra pulled me aside before the service started and handed me a printed card with bullet points on it. "Just keep it light and positive," she said. "Today isn't the day for complicated feelings." I looked at the card and then looked at her and put it in my pocket. She smiled like that meant I agreed. I got up to that podium and looked out at about 80 people. Sandra in the front row. My Aunt Karen next to her already dabbing her eyes. My dad's brother Pete, who I actually liked. My mom, who drove 2 hours and sat in the very back because she's a better person than most. I unfolded my own paper and started talking. I said my dad was one of the most magnetic people I'd ever known, and that was true. I said loving him was confusing because he made it so easy and so hard at the same time. I said there were years where I was so angry at him I couldn't say his name without my chest tightening, and that I'd spent a long time grieving the father I wanted before I could grieve the one I actually had. I said I forgave him before he died, quietly, mostly for myself, and that I was glad I did. I said I hoped he finally had some peace, because he never seemed to have much of it here. Sandra's face had gone completely still about 45 seconds in. Karen made this sharp noise like a gasp, but swallowed it. I kept going. I wasn't yelling, I wasn't crying, I was just talking. When I sat back down, my mom caught my eye from the back row and gave me one small nod. Sandra didn't speak to me at the reception. Karen found me by the food table and grabbed my arm and said that was completely inappropriate and that I'd humiliated the family in front of everyone. I told her I'd told the truth about my own father at his own funeral and I wasn't going to apologize for it. She said my mother had clearly poisoned me against him and I laughed out loud. Actually laughed because my mom sat in the back and didn't say a single word. Sandra finally came over and said, her voice very low and very tight, that I had made his funeral about my issues. I told her I loved my dad and everything I said up there came from that. She walked away. My dad's brother Pete found me before I left. He put his hand on my shoulder and said, he would have hated that you said all that. Then he paused. He also would have known every word was true. That was enough for me. My Aunt Karen hasn't called since. Sandra sent a long message that I read and didn't respond to. My mom called me that night and didn't say much. Just, "I'm proud of you, baby. I slept better than I had in weeks."